Yeah, you're
Everyone please rise. Stand pride.
Dear Lord, guide and inspire us with the wisdom to oversee the daily tasks of government. Help us those set goals for the benefit of the borough. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here. Mr. Benny. Here. Mr. Dudley. Here. Mr. McGuigan. Here. Mr. Raptor. Here. Mrs. French. Here. And Fry.
Here.
First up, I'd like to call Officer White up. Before the meeting, I gave everyone this Global Connect packet, and he's going to explain it to us. It's something that I think we should really look into. Dan has been working with the company that presented it to him. Dan?
Hello, everybody. Basically, since I'm the Emergency Services Director, I think this would be a good thing to bring to council, and I think it would be good for the borough, especially since the latest incident in Boston with the marathon and the incident in Texas. The borough received a bunch of phone calls about our emergency plans. God forbid something ever happened to in town. So Linda and the girls, turned them over to me, and I kind of explained to them, that I can't give them our evacuation plans and whatnot because it isn't public record, but I did let them know and assure them that we are up to date on everything. We do have plans in effect if, God forbid, something did happen. This Global Connect system that I've been looking at and doing some research on, it's basically a phone system that most of the schools use, a lot of the other bigger townships use. It's a phone system where any one of us that we decide to put on it could just get on the phone, you can get on the internet, and you give a message. You basically say, this is Fallcroft Borough, street sweeper starts tomorrow. Please move your cars, we're starting a ticket. You could say, because of the snowstorm, we ask all residents to please not throw snow in the street. You could say anything that is of value to the borough. You can tell them tomorrow's July 4th, we're not picking up trash. Don't put your trash cans out. Anything that we need to reach out to the residents, it's here for us. All you need is a dial tone or a computer, and we can reach your residents. There's a link that we could put on our website that the residents can also go and add their cell phones to it. It's an automated thing where, for instance, during Hurricane Sandy, this company made over 1.5 million phone calls an hour without any service interruption or any problems. We will know if people answer the phone. We'll know if there's an answer machine that answers the phone. We can set it up where we give them a call back every so often. We can keep them up to date on everything. We can itemize it to just hit the village. We can itemize it to hit the upper end. If we're having problems in the middle of town, we can hit the middle of town. Anything that we need to hit the residents with immediately, this is a good asset for the borough. We can set it up to hit the highway guys. We can set it up to just hit council. We can use it once for 365 days, or we can use it 365 times. It's the same price. The estimate that they had given me, I'm going to question them on it because they're coming up saying that we have approximately 3,170 houses and businesses in town. The research that I did is saying somewhere around 2,700. So that, with the price that they're charging us, would save us approximately another $200. For 1 year, the price is, as of now, $1,473.75. Now that is for the global system. They will come in, they'll train everybody to how to use it. We can set up, designate, you can have the borough manager, you can have the mayor, you can have the borough solicitor, whoever you want to do it. You can reach out, and they can have access to it to reach out to the residents to send the message. I know in some towns the police chief will do it. They'll send out a message to the town, hey listen, there's a lot of scams going on with the elderly. You know, you can reach anything and everything you can tell the residents, and you know, it's a welcoming feeling that they know what's going on. A lot of the older people don't have computers, they can't look at online to see what our plans are. If we're flooding out in the village, we can send this phone call to say, hey, get to our firehouse for our evacuation, go to the borough for the shelter. There's also, when you're getting this message, you can hit a button while you're getting it at the end, and it will give a direct number, I would assume to myself being the director, and I can answer questions that they may have. So, I mean, something that I suggest or recommend. The packet will show you a lot of testimonies about other towns that use it. So besides that $1473.75, we do have to buy a phone list from Verizon. That phone list is good for 3 years. If we go into this system by ourselves, it's $1,400. They did tell me that Yaden Borough is looking to do the same program, and Mr. Pacini did say that he could probably get another town or two in it, which would drop our price drastically. If Yaden Borough goes in it with this, it would drop it in half to $700 for us. And that phone list is good for 3 years. They continually update it. If people move in or out of town, they constantly update the phone number. If you have a blocked number, it doesn't matter. We can get the number and we can advise you of emergencies or certain situations in town. If we get a third town or borough to go in it, it would drop it even more. So we can also do it through text messaging, email. There's a part where you can translate from English to Spanish for our Spanish-speaking residents. As I said, with the mapping, you can categorize it to where you want it to go. You can do it from down the shore. You can do it from anywhere that you have a phone line or the internet. And like I said, it's unlimited. You can use it once or you can use it 1,000 times. It's this one price. And I did speak with a lady. Besides the phone list, I asked, since we're going to possibly get these other towns, if she would work with me on our price. And she said that she would. As of now, our price, roughly, or our price that she's giving me now is basically, it breaks down to 55 cents a household for the whole year. So 55 cents, you know, times they have it estimated at 3,170 homes and businesses. And I know we don't have that many towns, but they went off the last census, they said. So if I can prove to them otherwise, they said they'd be more than happy. So I had Tony this morning do all our houses. We were at 2,400 homes, and I'm guessing about 300 businesses and apartments. So I'm sure it's going to drop that 1,400 by probably 250. So if anyone had, the lady couldn't be here. She's doing a thing in New York today. So I asked her to be here, and they normally do come to answer further questions. I do know some about it. So if anyone has any questions for me that I can maybe answer, or reach back to her to get the answers for you, I'll definitely have them for you next week if anyone does have any questions or concerns.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
I see where it's effective as far as where you're talking about the police work and Fallcroft stuff, where you can reach the village if there's a problem, you can reach everyone else. As far as any big disasters, I mean, right now we have the television, and whenever there is a big disaster, it's covered by NBC 10, all the big outlets. And even if I remember correctly, Hurricane Sandy, we got the call that you're talking about from somewhere. I don't know if the county did it or whatever, but I think
That might have been the school district.
no, this was a call from the weather service and everything.
Oh, yeah,
Hurricane
okay, I understand what
Sandy.
you're saying.
I think everyone that had a cell phone or whatever home phone received that call. I'm not exactly sure where it came from, but we got it, and I don't know if the state did it, if the county did it. So
County
I'm
did
more-
it, there's a number you sign up with the county.
So it seems to me in a big big storm, it's kind of a redundancy where maybe something that's more of a local thing I can understand, but any kind of FEMA emergency, I just don't understand where it's gonna cover what's not already covered by media outlets and by the county and by
Well,
the
for
state.
instance, one time we had to do a lot of legwork for the police end of it. for the Fulham fire. We had to go door to door, knocking on every door to get people out of their houses. If people aren't home, it goes to their cell phone. Hey, listen, your street's being evacuated, go to the shelter, which is here, here, and here. It's not just for emergencies, so to say. Like I said, who wants their neighbor's trash can sitting out on Monday when it's Memorial Day and trash isn't coming? So they
No,
leave it
that's
out
what I'm
there
saying,
till
and Dave,
Thursday.
That's exactly what I'm saying, but when you're budgeting it, instead of putting it under FEMA, this to me sounds like something more that should fall under police and fire. Because I think that this would be more useful for local things as opposed to FEMA.
I agree with you.
So that's what I'm saying.
I just didn't want to present it as a police officer. I felt that
I can
it
see
covers
the
every
effectiveness.
emergency and
As a police
everything.
officer, it makes sense to me.
Okay.
To be able to reach the residents faster. If you get a call that there was God forbid, a rapist or something down at Montgomery Park and whatever, and this is a way to send out a warning, I'm totally on board. I'm talking about just to put it in the right box, to check the right box with it. I think it's more of a police and fire thing rather than a
Well,
FEMA.
with something like this,
I agree,
Jason,
I
we
agree.
would break it across the board because it would be used for all aspects of the borough. It would be our way of communicating with our residents. So it would not only just be police and fire, it would be highway, it would be code enforcement, it would basically be, it's not gonna hit one specific thing. You would split it across the board based on percentage, and that's something that Joe would probably look at and see, okay, the majority of it's gonna be used for police and fire, so we'll put maybe 50% there, and then maybe 10% in highway, 10% in administrative, just so that, it's not hitting one exact, expense into our budget.
And I could see its usefulness there.
It's just where I live, they have it, and you don't know how many times I go to, give yourself the reminder, put your trash out, and then your phone rings. Not coming tomorrow, so you don't put it. It's just when I lived in town, it used to drive me crazy. Everyone would put their trash cans out, and trash isn't coming, and they just leave it out there. And then the animals get in it, the wind blows it away. Just what most people take for granted. I think it would be a good asset. Instead of sending Mr. Papaleo around with the PA system, hey, listen, residents, next week, street sweeper's starting back up. We're coming around today, not issuing tickets, and then the day before the street sweeper comes the next week, residents, it's coming tomorrow, you will receive a ticket if you do. I just think it gives our residents a heads up and almost an appreciation. I mean, I appreciate it where I'm at, that the township's actually looking out for my own good and let me know what's going on. If for Fire Prevention Week, the fire company could do something that says, open houses this night, Community Day.
Well, here, let me ask you a question on that, because you just said that Verizon's gonna give you a list of people's numbers that are on listed numbers. Now, I think it would be a problem for us to send out something that says Community Day tomorrow for people who have unlisted numbers. I understand if it's a health and safety thing. I don't see how we can send something out to say that, all right, we're doing a fireworks tomorrow from somebody that has an unlisted number that we got from Verizon.
That's something I can look into and is a good point. But I have an unlisted number and a blocked number.
Right.
And I still receive them, that they're letting me know that they just had a drug take back where you can bring your prescriptions to. I would probably fall under safety and stuff, so it probably. But I mean, we still receive the political phone calls from getting out there, vote from the major politicians and stuff, and.
I think it's a great idea.
I mean,
Just
question I
because
have-
I'm so busy, I don't ever barely have time to go on the internet or the TV when I'm home. So
And
if
another
someone
reason.
told me that the street sweeper's coming tomorrow, that'd be great, because I would have never even remembered.
And when there's a disaster, people aren't thinking to go look online or let me turn the TV
Right,
on.
exactly.
If they're,
Everybody
I want to go to my
has
neighbor's or
Right.
relative's house, they can still get the phone call on their cell phone.
Mhm.
Question I have, if these people do have a private number and Verizon's willing to give us the number, shouldn't Verizon just have the responsibility to call the resident and say, listen, we're gonna give your private number to the borough in case of an emergency? And if that would be okay for them, then versus Verizon just giving the number, because that's invasion of our privacy to an extent, you know what I mean? You'd have to have an A-okay for
We
that.
use Global Connect in the school district,
Okay.
and when numbers are blocked, they don't they don't go through, because the people don't want them to go through.
Right, well, I mean, we should give these residents that
But I
have a
think, yeah,
private.
you're right, they have rights.
I mean,
and-
just have them,
Right.
give them the okay,
Can
okay,
you look into
give me
that,
the number.
Dan?
Yes. And like I said, they said we could add a link to it, to the borough account, where you can just, a resident can click on it, put their cell phone number, their spouse's cell phone number, whoever they want. You know, if you're down the shore, you're gonna wanna know that all hell's breaking loose back in Fallcroft, right? So, well, I see you say that.
Or your house is on fire or something like that.
It just,
Thank you.
I found that, you know, from everything I researched on it, it's just something that I would suggest for emergency services, police, fire, and the borough end of it, you know, covering every aspect. I do understand Jason's concern and, you know, and I think we would get more use out of it as a local thing rather than a big thing, you know, so
Thanks, Andy, I appreciate it.
if there's
No,
any.
the only difference, Dan, is they have to give us a number. There is no, like, we don't buy the Verizon list for the 4 towns and put them into the Global Connect. They have to fill a paper out in the beginning of the year and give us the number that they want us to call them on. Right.
Yeah, Verizon does supply us with the list. I don't know
Right.
where it comes from, but that list that,
But
Like I
it's
said,
like Larry
it-
said, if they're a block number, there's a reason they want it blocked.
I mean,
I'm
that
a
would,
block number and I get them, so
I mean,
I
that
don't
would
know.
just have to be up to the resident to, say, yeah, okay.
And you
in
know
case
there's
of
gonna be
emergency,
some
you
residents
can
out
call
there
my
that
Take me
house.
off the list.
Yeah,
And it is a matter of going into the computer and go delete.
Opt out or whatever. But that phone list is good for 3 years and they continue to update it, take away, add. But that's all I have. If no one else has any other questions, I'll look into the possibility of block numbers if they get it,
I'd
If
say
it's a
the first one
nuisance.
that goes out, if you want your number excluded, call us, we'll take it off, that's all. That should be the first message. You know, call us, let us know, and we'll delete you off the list.
Thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Jan.
Our next committee meeting is June 11th. We'll have an executive session at 6 o'clock in the conference room to meet with the first of the code enforcers, and that's the binder that you received tonight. It's from Code Inspections. So we're gonna meet with them June 11th at 6 o'clock.
I can tell you now, I may not be there, that is the day that my daughter-in-law is scheduled to give birth. But I'll let you know if it's still on.
And then, we're planning a Memorial Day observation out front on Memorial Day, Saturday. It's the weekend of Memorial Day weekend. It'll be Saturday, May 25th at noon. The veterans have asked to do, a ceremony in front of the monument.
What was the time?
I'm sorry.
Noon?
Noon, yes. And we'll put that on the TV and the, on the website. And that's all I had, in finance and administration.
I've got a few questions on the finance administration. So I understand last month the council room turned into a courtroom. So my question is, first to the solicitor, who do you work for? Do you work for the Democratic Party or do you work, I'm gonna finish my question.
Right.
Who do you work for?
I work for the borough.
That's, now my question to you is, how is it professional to turn this place into a courtroom with that, you have Mary Ann's phone number, correct?
I do not have Maryland's.
Okay, you can get in touch with any council person or the mayor at any time, I'm sure, correct?
If it's appropriate.
So it's not, you find it appropriate?
No.
Okay, so then let's talk about it now, because now I have an opportunity to discuss. What is your major problem with this bridge project?
I've rendered a legal opinion. I don't have to give any further explanation on what I gave at the
I'm a
last.
council person, I'm asking you a question, and you don't have to give me an answer.
I gave a legal response. What you want to do is engage in politics. That's not my.
No, that's exactly my problem with what you did last month. Now, I'm asking you as a council person, what is the problem with paying the bill? Now, I'll surmise what I think the problem is,
You can surmise whatever you want.
and I will, and I will.
A legal opinion was given. The contract was not valid. The contract was not valid because it did not follow the rules of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Under the Borough Code, to make a commitment of that nature, the matter has to be raised here before the borough. There has to be a discussion, there has to be a vote. Without authorization, Ms. French could not enter into any agreement and bind the municipality.
What kind of, what you said of that nature, what does that nature mean? Anything that has a financial
Yes,
impact on the borough?
over a certain dollar amount.
Okay, well,
And this clearly far exceeded. She
Now,
did
we'll
not
get
have
into
the
that.
authority.
now here's my question.
And we did discuss it.
Well, but here's my question. As a point,
One more time.
as a point of parliamentary order, you probably have a point.
It's not
Because-
a point of parliamentary.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what it
It has
is.
to do with the Borough Code, period.
I
And with the
spoke,
laws
but
of the
here's
Commonwealth
here's
of
the thing,
Pennsylvania.
here's the thing that you're leaving out of the whole entire
I'm not leaving
conversation.
anything out of the conversation.
I've spoken with everyone that was on this council,
Right,
who was there at the time.
right.
What was your understanding of that meeting?
There is no record that exists that meets the requirements
So-
of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for there having been an appropriate
The people who
raising,
sat on
discussion,
council,
and consideration and
the
vote.
people who sat on council can't attest to what happened at that meeting, is what you're saying as a lawyer? That we're talking to the people who were on the council has no bearing on what happened at that council meeting? That's what you're saying?
There is no record, and there's a reason why records are kept and
Yeah.
maintained,
Exactly.
period, in every legal transaction
Okay.
that takes place.
So then let me ask you another question. If this borough can't pay for anything or enter into any legal agreement without having a vote on council floor, why does this council that sits here today do that? And case in point example of which is the carnival. When a contract is signed to have a carnival in February, and a motion and $1,000 paid to the organization that does it in February, and a motion isn't made until March, where's your legal opinion on that one?
You know what, you're talking about $1,000, you want to
So
do with
it's
that?
okay
You
to do
want-
that?
No, if you want, if
Out
what
of
you wanna do,
rec.
if what you wanna do is take issue with that $1,000, go ahead and do so. What Ms. French did was commit this borough to a
So you'll
several
pick and choose
hundred
with this
thousand
borough.
dollar.
You're
Anybody,
gonna pick and choose as a
We
solicitor.
discussed
That
it.
is
They
Take
take
issue.
code
for it and they're little
Absurd.
pamphlet
I didn't
they
pick
send
and choose
around.
anything.
You just said if I take issue with it, that's on me. I'm asking you, as a solicitor of the borough, what your opinion is on that, and you're telling me to take it up,
I-
right?
No, you're wrong.
That's what you just said.
No, you're
Did I hear the man incorrectly?
You hear what you want because you're making a political issue out of something that was a legal rule, period.
Well, when it came down to it, anyway, you attacked Mrs. French,
I
and you
did
should
not
have took
attack
it
Mrs.
into an
French.
executive session.
I asked her a question.
You more or less showed whose side you were on that night, and you worked for all of us.
You should have gone to an executive session and not held the paper up to her like this.
And-
It was not a question of personnel. There was no need for executive session.
no.
There is something known as transparency, which is what you're talking about. You want transparency. There has to be an open discussion about what it was that the borough was being asked to do back at the time that Ms. French committed the borough to make a payment that is not an obligation of this municipality.
I did not commit on my own. Council discussed it. Were
There
you
was
here?
There was no,
Wasn't
no,
voted on.
what we do is we ask for the record. There is
There
no
is no
record that
vote.
shows.
The bridge needed to be done, no matter what, whether we say it or not.
Just because you discussed it, though, it doesn't mean it was voted on. You needed to vote on it. It was
How
over
many
$10,000.
months ago
There
was
were
that?
many,
If you guys
there were
voted on this
many
and I couldn't
meetings,
get a response?
excuse me, there were
Go
many meetings at the
You're
end
still
that
talking
Lisa
about this?
Catania gave her report. And in the end, she would say, oh,
That's what
you
I'm
need a
exactly where
motion
you're
to
at.
pass whatever.
Ms. French, at any point in time,
This is just
Did
a
you ask-
personal attack.
it
I'm
is not a
sorry.
personal
Legal-
attack.
Yes,
No,
it is. We needed a bridge. It's a borough
You have no
bridge.
legal record
Why
of
can't
ever
we
voting on
all
it.
discuss
What don't you
it?
get about that? There's no legal record, there's
Here's what
nothing
I-
on paper saying you guys ever
Here's
told
what
me
I don't
about it.
get.
Oh, like you're
All right,
ready for
hey,
the
guys,
All right.
Oh, shut up.
It's it.
Listen, no, it's not it.
Figuring out the other
And here's
option.
why it's not it. You guys told me, the council, this side, that you did not want to pay the $400,000. So we went out, and you said that you're only obligated to pay $122,000. So here's my question. We went out and got it down to the $122,000,
Which we
which
still
is
haven't gotten the bill
what
for.
you guys asked me for. Whether you got a bill or not.
Wait, Jason, I did not ask you to go to county.
First
I
of all-
did not
first
ask
of all-
you.
First
None
of
of
all,
us
Sue,
asked you,
first of all,
or
Sue.
Mary Ann, or Bob to
First of all,
do that.
Sue.
No, first of all,
No,
Jason,
no,
we
no,
did
no.
not ask you, so don't say
Yes,
we
you did.
No,
You said
I asked you
this
to go
council,
personally.
the previous council decided that $122,000 was the agreed upon. Cliff said whether he agrees with it or not, that was the agreement that made.
Okay.
$400,000 is not going to get paid. But
Okay.
we do understand that we're responsible for the $122,000.
Okay.
We're going to tell the county. I'm saying what that man said here.
No.
He sent a
that's
letter
not-
to them
that's-
saying
that's-
that
That's
he
what
knew
he
about
said.
the
All right.
agreement.
All right, let me
Let's
just
not
make,
get
let me
back into
just
the
make it
letter
very
discussion,
clear.
please.
If you're willing to listen, I know the people here are willing to listen, let's get something straight. There should have been a request made by the last borough council of the borough solicitor as to whether the bill that was submitted was an obligation of the borough to begin with. The fact that it is a borough bridge does not mean that the borough is responsible for it. There happened to be lines being put in which did not belong to the borough. There were questions about easements. There were questions about financing and funding. You may not like paying $135 an hour for an attorney, but what an attorney can do, a solicitor who cares and is not playing politics, is see to it that the interests of the borough and its taxpayers are taken care of. Whether the number is $125,000 or $400,000, if it's not an obligation under the law of this borough, the borough should not have committed itself to undertake that obligation. And that is the basis upon which the ruling was made. The question you raised is, how can it be that we raised the topic and said that the council shouldn't have done it? Because there wasn't an open and transparent proceeding with a record made, and had you done that, and had you had a borough solicitor render an opinion on it back at that time, instead of the engineer, you would not have had this situation
I
arise
have a
at all.
solicitor who oversees all the proceedings since, going back well before any of us sat here.
It doesn't make any
And
difference.
that's what they do.
It's what the record is. You didn't ask the solicitor for an opinion, there is no solicitor's opinion. What you did is you listened to someone who had a vested interest, and that was the engineer. You didn't take a vote, you didn't make it apparent to the, transparent to the citizens here.
Jack Whalen was our solicitor.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's why I asked whose signature was on the document of Ms. French, because there's a question as to how Mr. Whalen could be a member of the county council
Mike
and be the borough
Pompeo.
solicitor and be on both sides of the
Michael
transaction.
Pompeo, because Whalen wasn't there.
Well, that's all right. So in that situation, it was Mr. Pompeo who rendered an opinion.
I
Who
remember the
gave the
whole
opinion?
meeting.
Where's the opinion? Where is it in the records of this government?
On the tapes that we're recording.
Well, then get the tapes.
Have you
We
even
have
heard?
them in the back
Have you even
office.
heard the tapes?
They can't find the tapes, that's the
Here's
problem.
the other thing. I don't ask for a
Oh, so
legal
all of a sudden
opinion
there's no
when
tapes.
there's
There's no
no
tapes.
question as to what we're doing. The
But
solicitor,
there is a question.
no,
Yeah, they
to
are.
you there is.
All right,
A
bring 'em
solicitor
out.
is there to guide you legally.
Why?
If he's here overseeing the proceedings, correct?
Right.
We had a
We're
solicitor
citizens
sitting in
too.
your chair. If the engineer tells us what they think needs to be done, and the solicitor's sitting there, I'm not gonna turn to him every time and say, okay, write me a ruling. His job is to let us know if something's a foul. It's that simple.
So then you want to blame the last solicitor?
No, you wanna blame the last solicitor.
No, I'm just
Clearly.
stating what the facts are.
You don't even know
Now,
the
what was
facts.
the
You haven't
comment?
even heard the
Excuse me?
tapes. I don't care what you say.
Have you heard the tapes?
I've been at the meetings. I heard them vote on it.
All right.
Were you there?
No.
Obviously
I
you
asked for
weren't.
the records, and there are no records to
Talk
support
to the
that.
borough executive director.
I have.
And where's the tapes? Have you heard the tapes?
Oh, they're gonna walk out of the meeting.
Can we please move on with our agenda?
I think this is a very important issue to the citizens of
Police,
Falkirk.
fire, and
Right,
FEMA. Ms.
it is.
Peterson, please.
Then why are we moving on from it?
I have a lot,
Because this issue has been addressed.
It hasn't been addressed.
Recreation.
Because you
Ms.
got a free
Peterson.
bridge out of it, and that's.
All right,
we
I
ain't got
have
money
things
going.
Excuse me, Mr.
Recreation.
Furio, if you wanna leave, I will have a police officer escort you out. We will not disrupt this meeting any further than it's already been disrupted. Thank you.
How has it been disrupted?
Recreation, Ms. Peterson.
All right, I have a couple things. Chrissy McFalls, asked if friends, family, and fellow veterans of late James Coglin would like to ask permission to have a barbecue down Montgomery Park on May 11th in remembrance of him, from 11 to 7. We would only need the back corner of the park, which is away from the baseball fields. So, I wanna bring that up for vote next week. Also, the Fallcroft.
You said May 11th.
Do we have a game that
That's
day?
Saturday.
Or, oh my, I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
Do we have,
Saturday.
They only need the back corner, so could we?
do we have a game that day, Michelle?
Saturday. I don't
They said
think
they'll be
so.
away from the baseball fields.
I know we have a game Friday.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything Saturday that I know of.
Could we like?
They're talking down by where you go down to the creek, right?
Yeah.
Down by the
That's
fishing
right
hole.
near the baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know we have a game on Friday. I'm not sure if we have a game on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
You check, double check.
No, we don't have
I
anything
don't.
Saturday.
She would know more than
Yeah.
I do.
Also, Fallcroft Union Church is doing their family fun nights in the park. Wednesday, June 26th, behind Borough Hall, 6 to 8. Wednesday, July 24th, Montgomery Park, 6 to 8. And Wednesday, August 14th, at Lamb Island Park, 6 to 8.
Sorry, was the August
They
date?
did this last year, yeah, as well.
August what?
14th.
What do they have down there?
Like a carnival event. kind of thing.
Okay.
Booths and different themes, games, activities, and themes.
What are the dates and the locations again?
June 26th, behind Borough Hall. June 24th, Montgomery Park.
July 20th.
Or July, sorry. And then August 14th, Lamb Island Park.
Okay.
The Girls Club would like to have flea market June 1st behind the borough. I forgot to bring it up last month. And also the 4th of July parade will be on the 4th of July at 4 p.m. And the carnival recreation made $61.33 for from the carnival, and that was also taken out the porta potties that we had to pay 50% of, and our deposit. 6%.
Is that all you have, Christine?
Yes.
So allow me to ask again, see it's out now between me and you, and not, we don't have to bring a solicitor in. How can
Jason, all right, I'm gonna just answer this.
Go ahead.
I signed the contract in February. I brought it to you guys in March. It could have been decided that we say no, and then I get out of the contract.
How?
It was $1,000 of recreation's money, which as the chair of recreation, I have the right to do that.
As chair of recreation, you have a right to sign a contract.
Anything under $10,000, a chairman of a committee
It was
has
$1,000
the right,
deposit.
without code. That's the new borough code that was
It
made
is
out.
borough.
Christine and I went to a borough code training, and that was the new borough code.
Well, the
that
check was
there.
written not from recreation, but from the borough of Fallcroft.
There's $2,000 in recreation for the year.
It's,
That's a
It
separate account,
goes,
or does it
I
go
believe
in
it
No, it all
the
has
goes
to
to the
fall-
general fund,
it all has to
but
fall under
it's
general fund now according to
2004
borough.
I thought with the
recreation
borough
for the
code
year.
changes that recreation had to be a separate fund as
Yep.
of January.
Oh, yeah.
No, all the money that we put into it, it can only be like from outside sources, like,
Right.
nobody can just say, okay, here's, $500, put it there.
We have to raise.
Everything has to be raised.
She has to raise her own money, she can't just put money into.
But it goes into the general fund without having a
Yes,
separate account.
correct. And it'll have its own line in your budget. Any other questions for recreation? Highway and sewer, Mr. Penny?
Yes, last meeting we brought this up about having Delmar Drive being paved. We're trying to get some people in for some bids. Also, I talked to Thomas, on last Thursday. I wanna try to get the 2 handicap ramps down over the bridge also put into that fund for this gentleman and one of our veterans that come down that, over that bridge also, for them to go, they go to the Wawa. I don't really want them going out over the bridge and out onto the highway. Really been trying to work this out to see if we can get the handicaps put in for you guys so you can continue off the sidewalk instead of going down Pinehurst Road on the wheelchairs. Alright, Thomas is going to talk to me and we're gonna see if we can throw that into the bid for the paving also.
Okay,
Okay?
you're talking about not buying the streets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever see
I know, the
sidewalks?
sidewalks, I know.
Look up cars blocking the sidewalks.
But what my biggest concern is, and I've seen you, and I've seen the veteran gentleman, you guys go over the bridge, and then you come out towards where that body shop is, or mechanic shop, and then they come down the street. You know, God forbid, somebody's flying over that bridge, when you guys are coming out onto that,
I do the
you know,
sidewalk over
okay,
there.
I'd rather be safe and know that you guys are gonna take the sidewalk to the skirt, up to the other skirt.
Because I know that sidewalk ain't
I
there.
know, I've seen it, I've seen it.
You go along Ashland Avenue.
I'm just more
From Ashland
concerned.
Avenue out to where the pool entrance is,
Yeah,
there's a car always blocking the sidewalk, always. Every time I go by, it's blocking the
we can
sidewalk.
have one of our officers check it out.
I've addressed that with Roga.
Okay.
You're talking about where they park on Primus Avenue with their cars?
Ashland Avenue,
Ashland Avenue also?
there's like you could fit 2 cars in there.
Okay.
You got 2 cars in the front, and the car back hangs over the sidewalk, where you can't go on the sidewalk.
You have to come down and, okay.
Come down around.
So it's people that have driveways on
They're
Ashland.
they're blocking the
They're
sidewalk.
blocking the sidewalks, okay.
Okay.
I will
We
let,
have to give them
I
a
will let,
ticket, we'll give them a warning, and then if they continue to go, we'll have to give them a ticket for
I'll let the chief know.
it. Okay? I just don't,
Yeah, I seen that on,
my big, like I
I
said,
seen that on
my
Valley.
biggest concern is you guys going out onto that road right from there, that point. That's way too dangerous. You know, I just wanna make sure you guys get your skirts or, you know, you can go up the sidewalk. And I understand that sidewalks are not the smoothest around the town, okay? But at that particular spot where you guys go out, that is too dangerous for you guys to do that. So I would like to try to get them done for you, okay? I understand you guys go up Primus right there, go straight up the road. That's one thing, but right there with that little stool, that little mechanic place there coming out, somebody's gonna get hit, okay? We're gonna try our best to see if we can put that into the budget for when we do the road and see if they'll give a little bit and put these 2 skirts in place, okay? And that's all I have right now.
Mayor, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Under buildings and properties. Are you aware of the fact, or did you direct our highway guys to clean out the Legion about a month ago?
No.
Okay. Well, our highway department, our guys that work for the borough, were directed to go there and clean the place out the day before a Democratic fundraiser.
I got a call at night that they saw the borough trucks over there at the Legion Hall
DFW.
on borough time. Yeah.
I
And they
was
were
not
cleaning
aware of
it out, so I did a little digging. And I asked the guys, I was gonna ask the solicitor what the consequences were for it. They were told, or asked, and Danny would not refuse anybody.
Oh, I know that.
You know, he's an absolute, you know, he's a great guy, all 3 of them are. But why would we put them in the middle? That's my problem. If they got hurt, what happens then?
We can't afford to get anybody hurt right now. We have
And why
2
did
guys
Christine
out.
tell them to go over there? and do
I
it?
asked
I
them, I was.
I asked them, okay, why did you ask them? Danny will
I
not
was over there
refuse.
cleaning it
Why
out.
did you put him in the middle?
I was over there cleaning it out because Rose needs a lot of help over there. So I should not help the veterans and the older people in this community because of whatever. So I helped her clean it out because they're having a tough time down there and I've been doing nothing but trying to help them. and I asked them to help me to get the trash.
Could it
It
be
wasn't
because you had the
cleaning it
Democratic
out.
Party there?
No, it
no.
couldn't have been
Had
that.
nothing to do with that. It's a
No,
coincidence.
it wasn't.
Okay, it's
I was
coincidence,
cleaning
huh?
it
Hell
out.
of a coincidence.
Coincidence.
Total.
That place has been there for 2 years since you sat on council.
And I've been helping her
And the day before you have a
ever
Democratic
since,
fundraiser,
ever
you're
since
saying
I have been
that
helping
it's a
her.
coincidence.
Because no one here has.
Well, let me say this about the veterans and all that stuff you do. The
That's great.
contract that the highway people operate under has a scope to it. Their job that they are charged to do is to clean up after the borough. When you send them in there, not only are you in violation of law, but you're also in violation of their contract. Now, I just heard about this recently, and what they could do is grieve us as a township for doing something like that, and we're held liable as a borough of Fallcroft. So whether you were helping, whatever, it's not part of their scope. It's not part of their job.
Mr. Jason McGuigan, what would their grievance be?
Their grievance would be that they were doing something on personal property and not working for the taxpayers of Fallcroft. And that's not part of their job.
And did any of them do that?
That, you know what? They may.
Did any
They
of them?
may.
Okay.
They may.
Well, then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Are you disputing the fact that that's not a legitimate claim?
We'll cross that bridge when we
I'm
come
pretty
to
sure it is. So with your legal expertise, I have a little bit of expertise in this side of things too.
You and I both dealt with labor.
Okay?
And you can send me the contract.
Why would we
You
put
have-
them in the middle?
They're not in the middle.
They're not. If they got hurt over there,
Did they get hurt?
Ludo, no, they didn't, but if they got hurt over there,
But they
we
did.
wouldn't have to
So
pay.
as a solicitor, your
There's-
advice
and
would
is there
not
not-
be to the highway department that it's not a good
I need
idea
my,
to
I
do
need my
that.
house
Is
back.
that
Can you send me
really?
hallway?
I have no
Did they get
problem
hurt?
helping the vets.
No.
Did
That
they
wasn't what it was
What
about.
you're saying
It was about cleaning up for
One person at a
fundraising.
You are
time, please.
creating an issue that doesn't exist.
Yes, they do it all the time.
And that is destructive of this proceedings and of governance. And that is what I'm raising.
You're a one-trick pony, man.
Please.
Can we get Ray back, please?
Building boroughs and properties. Larry, anything new with
Nothing,
building
no,
boroughs?
nothing new.
I
Ordinances.
thought you would have
I
me
know.
say that.
We're gonna vote next week on.
He wasn't half the asshole this guy is.
The police, amnesty retirement one, and the stormwater floodplain one, that we advertised and all that good stuff. We'll have the public hearings on them and then vote on them next week.
Any other ordinances that need to be brought up?
Yes,
Yeah, the one about.
I would like to offer up the abandoned car ordinance. This ordinance actually helps us, instead of having things sit for 10 days and putting it all on the police, it actually gives 5 days, and the police, fire marshal, parking, and, code enforcer, or the health inspector could slap the, abandoned sticker on. And we can move it within 5 days. I think this is a good ordinance, because we're having a lot of abandoned cars in the neighborhood.
Okay, so this will be brought up in June.
In June, yes, a hearing and then.
I have a question on that.
Do we wait till public participation so we can
Sure.
go through this? Thank you. Insurance. Mary Ann?
No new business.
The library, I attended the trustees training, with Gary Goldman up at Montgomery Community College. It was about the future of libraries, and they pretty much covered the libraries going full technology, but still keeping the books in the buildings themselves, and how to utilize the library spaces for other things besides library purposes, which we'll bring to the board and see what they say, but I think our library is just a little bit too small to do some of the things that they were asking us to consider, so, that presentation will be brought in on May 15th to them, and that's all I have in library. Building and zoning, Jason,
Nothing.
sanitation and health,
Nothing.
Michelle, we did have another abatement,
Okay.
1151 Taylor. It was actually abated 2011 according to the sign that was posted on the door underneath all the sheriff signs, sheriff letters.
Somebody lives in there now. 1151?
1151.
Somebody's living in there.
Somebody's living in there?
And
Yeah.
Linda took care of it.
Yeah,
It's-
Linda
It
took
looks beautiful now.
Yeah.
They hired,
Do you have the
the
pictures?
slumlord hired Dave to cut it.
You wanna see the pictures that we had to abate?
Yeah, we sent them to you.
I have pictures.
Yeah.
Linda's gonna go get them. This is the type
job,
of
Eric.
abatements that we've had to deal with, and I just cannot believe that people would trash their house to the point of leaving food to rot in the refrigerator with the
Sue,
door
could I
open.
interrupt, please? I think you're talking about 1055 Taylor.
Yeah.
1055?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
one
you're not
was
talking
the-
11:55.
Yeah,
Wasn't-
that's
that
been
wasn't-
vacant forever.
1151 was a different, that was different.
That's a different
He
one?
gave- they didn't cut the
lawn and
grass.
stuff,
Alright, so
yeah.
1055.
I know.
1055, that was, that was terrible.
moved in.
That was,
1050, well, 1151 had no U and O.
Yeah, Linda handled it though last
Okay,
week.
that was taken care of.
They
This
hired-
is 1055.
They gave him till 4 o'clock to come over there and cut the grass, and he hired Mr. Spore. He had a pile of grass, Sue, 4 foot high in the
I
street.
believe it.
Yeah.
he kept promising
When
to
you
cut
see
it.
this house, the pictures are just
Should have
unbelievable.
run him out of town.
They actually left the refrigerator door open with food that spoiled inside the refrigerator.
Yeah, the guy's a scumbag.
And, the trash was, I'd say, knee high.
And those are very
That's
nice.
3 years ago. You were there to lock it up,
4
Carl.
foot high young couple with a small child.
What's that?
You were
Young
there to
couple
lock
with
it
a
up.
small child.
1055.
It had a really nice.
Yeah, it was Brad. Brad took care of that.
The way they were moving in.
Larry, you wanna
The dude-
start
the dude-
looking at these and then pass them down?
But the
I've
dude,
already
kinda like
seen
921
this.
Taylor.
So I don't-
what's that?
Sat high.
The dude that
Bob,
was
you remember
like-
the house Easter last year?
Yeah.
This was similar, except it didn't have the pets in cages.
Those the
Went
mortgage
after 'em,
company
right?
threw out, and then that's why they trash it?
No,
Because
they
they've
left.
been asked to leave that way, yeah, well, they're just
Mortgage
bad.
company didn't ask him to
No.
leave.
They take a
Nah.
salary with it.
The mortgage company
It was-
didn't ask him to leave.
It was abated in 2011 by the previous council, but the bank never followed through and finished the cleaning. So it sat there since 2011,
The neighbor called
the inside.
I can't
Called
imagine
you.
what the neighbors said to them.
No, the neighbors actually called. The neighbor-
That's when
down the
Brad and
street
me
from
went over and the cops and they locked up the whole park. They locked up the
I
whole,
have no idea where
property.
residents left.
and then Brad was supposed to
They left.
upkeep it and
Did
give
we get
them,
it cleaned out, Sue?
Well,
Yeah.
since 2011.
2 to 3 years ago they
the
left.
Barrow threw
The
them out of the
neighbors
house. Nobody else. The Barrow did. It was a health issue.
Living with, I told him he was living somewhere in Philly, Joe.
Here's the problem with that. Somebody was sent there from the bank and was going to the house and checking off
We
the
are going
checklist,
after the bank.
checking,
We are going after
marking bad
The bank
condition,
is actually
poor
in first
condition.
sheet.
No one done anything. The bank didn't even respond. There was a clipboard left in there and somebody went in once a
And that was
month.
the other thing, the bank went in
And-
there
and
and
just
somebody signed
never
up on the
did anything.
clipboard, but never cleaned it.
And the person was checking off poor condition, conditions appalling, all that.
That's all.
Don't you remember
The bank
Danny
did
had to
nothing.
secure the back thing because people were getting in it? The
Yeah.
back window.
Back door was
Dude,
open.
off with the girls' club.
Back door was open.
So,
That's how the financial institutions care about the abandoned houses.
Yeah.
Any other, questions on any of the committees? Carmen had a question about the ordinance.
No, it wasn't a question. I mean, before there was an ordinance, it said any car left on the street after 24 hours being ticketed can be towed. There is an ordinance. So I don't know why you're waiting 5 days to tow it.
This is on private property.
Yeah, this
We'll be
gives it
able
more
to tow on
aggressive,
private property.
yeah.
You got abandoned cars in your driveway, you
Cars
don't
that have
wanna
no
fix.
stickers that
Hold
are
on.
right and all that, yeah.
We can't do that now.
No, you can't.
This ordinance will make it
This-
fix it.
Try taking the car off my property. Fuck it up.
No, but That's a good idea.
That'll fix it.
I want to put one
I
back.
think they have that in Sharon Hill.
Yes.
I want to put one back.
Any other questions, concerns, comments? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I got a
Police
question.
has a
Oh, I'm sorry.
4th of July parade, why are we doing it at 4 o'clock? I'm glad it's on 4th of July, but why are we doing it at 4 o'clock? I have concerns with it being at 4 o'clock.
2 reasons. I was thinking about doing it at 2, but then it could be the hottest part of the day.
Right.
Last year we had a hot one. 4 o'clock, it just seems good too, because then maybe after people are done, you know,
That's
go
my
and
concern,
eat,
is
and then
people are gonna be a
go.
little too far gone at 4 o'clock
Fireworks.
on 4th of July in the afternoon. That would be
And a
my
lot of times,
concern.
people go to family barbecues.
That I really am, I'm just concerned people are gonna be too far gone at 4 o'clock.
I mean,
You
I
know
just
what I'm
figured
talking
a
about.
lot of them are doing it in the mornings already. I don't wanna compete, I wanna have participation.
Well, keep them from going to other towns and bring them to our town.
Yeah.
That's worse than.
But I'm glad we're doing it on 4th of July.
No,
I am
I
glad.
won't be there.
Thanks.
Not a full bar.
Well, you can tweak the time, it's not set in stone yet, right? I mean, whatever.
No, but we're gonna start making calls, so
Right,
it's not
right.
hard to be flip-flopping
Yeah,
times
yeah,
around,
right,
and, you
right.
know.
It is what it is.
Exactly. Yeah, and I got it, I was gonna call
Who?
I think-
My kids ain't gonna be in a parade for work.
A second.
But she's gonna leave.
Huh?
I think you can, what, eight days just the one. Why can't they, wherever the company is, why can't they find them for the driveways and do the, if they don't comply to the driveways?
Have letters going out about the driveways?
They started.
But it's getting worse and worse, they're trying to get them that.
You know what the problem with that is?
Nobody on Bennington got a letter
Yeah,
yet, Jeff.
you know what the problem with that is? You send a letter out, whoever doesn't comply, citation goes out.
And then you bring it to
Citation
court.
goes to court, they might not go to court till next year. And the driveway stays the same, so you keep sending tickets. So they don't pay the ticket, you keep writing, you know, it's a never-ending thing. Most people do comply. They'll call up and say, I wanna fix it, but I can't fix it now. I don't have the money. That's the whole thing. I can't fix it.
Yeah, but we can't wait till that.
I know.
Does anybody like from the borough go down the driveways at all?
I went
Do
all
you?
back in Valley View, I went all back in there.
Valley View?
Yeah.
How about in the village?